Amma ba'd, a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. A very good evening to all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Shahnawaz Ahmed Malik, teaching in Department of Law, Aligarh Muslim University, and very much beneficiary of Markaz Saqafat Sunniya and its movement. I have been with the movement, I have been with the organizations. Alhamdulillah, it is a pride moment to be here and to present my paper over the minority rights in India. The topic is interesting. If you listen with interest, inshallah, you will get something. And the Sachar Committee report. Minority, the word itself gives an idea that minority means Muslims. So, whether minority means Muslims or minority means those who are other than Hindus, the word is not defined in the Constitution. The word has been actually defined in the Supreme Court and various judgments of the High Court. Word was debated in the assembly which was established to form the Constitution of India, and that assembly was formed to frame the Constitution to grant you various rights, and these rights were debated one by one. And after the independence, the Constituent Assembly was framed during that period, and after the independence, some of the Muslim League members who remained in the Constituent Assembly, who did not go to Pakistan, they were debating. Some went Pakistan, some Muslim members remained inside the Constituent Assembly. They were debating for the protection of minority rights, but their voice became weak. And after the partition in 1947, the Congress was, let me say very clearly, in no mood to grant you, the Muslims, especially to the Muslims, the benefit which actually the community deserved at that time. Community was weak. Community was not empowered during the partition, but the partition brought the situation like that. The elite class of the Muslim community migrated from North India, and that caused so much influence and effect over the community that here remained the mass without leader. The large number of people remain here were actually illiterate, workers, and the backward sections of the society. So the demand of reservation was there in the Constituent Assembly, and it was given to the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. The demand was from both the sides, the minority communities, even the Sikh, even certain other sections, and including the Muslims were demanding the reservation in jobs, reservation in education institution that is granted to the SC/STs. The same demand was rejected in favor of Muslim by the learned members, especially the Congress party members of the Constituent Assembly, by saying that it cannot be granted because the Muslims cannot be compared with the SC/STs who have been suppressed historically since centuries. Okay, finally, but we got two articles, general articles. We got all the articles, all the fundamental rights are same as any Hindu or any Sikh or any Persian, any Christian can claim. But we have some certain special rights along with our other minorities. These are Article 29 and 30. Article 29 talks about non-discrimination of minorities and their protection. Article 30 talks about establishment of educational institution by the minorities and administration of those education institutions. It means the general articles, right to equality, freedom from the right and freedom from discrimination, and other Article 21, which gives right to life, including all the essential and necessities including life, were granted. But Article 29 and 30 is such a beneficial right if the community wants to grow through the education. By using this means of education, they can establish, they can preserve, protect their culture, language, script. You can protect your Arabic, Urdu, Persian or Malayalam language. and you can establish centers for it, for the beneficiary and benefit and the development of these script language and culture. So Muslims have tried to utilize it. Aligarh Muslim University, which was pre-partition institutions of the Muslim, faced little bit upheavals with regard to this right also, because Aligarh was established for the advancement of Muslims of India, and Aligarh faced the challenge. It was challenged that it is not a minority institution. It was decided in one of the case, Aziz Basha case, that I have covered in my paper, that Aligarh was granted recognition in 1920 by the Britishers as a university. So Supreme Court held that if the Britishers granted the recognition to the building, to the courses and to the institutions of Aligarh, so how the Muslims establish it? The Britishers established, so it is not a Muslim minority institution. But the case was not decided on the basis of the appreciation of the background and history of the Aligarh Muslim University, which is actually very clear from the beginning that Sir Sayyid laid down the guidelines, aims and objective of his society and established a school for the benefit of the Muslims. And a school was grown, and the Muslim community collected the funds of around 20 lakh rupees at that time in 1920s for the submission of fees for the recognition of a university. The status of university was granted by the government, that is okay, but the university, the institution, the colleges were established from the very inception and beginning by the Muslims of the India. And for the benefit of that weak community, Jamia Millia Islamia was also established in New Delhi. That is very much connected with the legal history. Jamia Hamdard was established. So these institutions have also faces challenges throughout the Indian history after the independence in this years of India. And this continuous struggle between the minority rights and protection has seen the upheavals, and that has actually resulted into the non-upliftment of the community, non-establishment of the center campuses outside the Aligarh, and very less benefit to the community. The Muslims are backward, we say so. Whether it has been established? Yes, it has been established. Even just after few years of the independence, Jawaharlal Nehru wrote a letter to the chief ministers of various states, writing that I am not seeing the Muslim faces in my secretariat. I am not seeing the Muslims in other departments of the Delhi secretariat. I think the Muslims are being facing little bit either discrimination or marginalization. So you, the chief ministers of various states, should take into account this fact, and they should not be discriminated, and they should be given the proper representation in various government departments. So slowly and gradually the partition, effect of partition up to 70s, 80s continuously remain in their lives, and in 80s, to check the conditions of the Muslims, committee was formed. That committee could not submit its reports before the parliament, and government formed that committee. That committee further, after 10 years, the report was tabled into the parliament, and on the similar line of the Sachar committee report, it was shown in 1984 that Muslims are lagging behind even scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in all fronts of development, whether it is educational, social, economic or other political. They are being marginalized, they are discriminated, they are not in colleges, they are not in schools, they are not in government departments. So government tried to show certain things for the benefit of the Muslims. Then various policies were framed. National Minority Commission was established in 1992, but the constitutional status was not granted, and the situation remains so. In 1992, the Muslims saw the demolition of Babri Masjid, that the Supreme Court has declared that one of the blot over the Indian democracy. And after that, the continuous fear, the continuous suppression, the continuous marginalization is a common phenomenon. And after in UPA first government 2006, through the efforts of Professor Abu Saleh Sharif, one of the community member, and other learned members, a committee was formed. Actually, he did a research Sir, Abu Bakr sir, I want your little bit. Yes. Professor Abu Saleh Sharif, through his study and researches, actually proved that Muslims are facing backwardness. So his researches paved the way for the establishment of such a committee report under the UPA government. And he was made the secretary, and such a committee report, you know very well, has produced the data on the basis of various government committees reports, on the basis of ground reports. They did the survey, they took the time, and they presented their reports before the government that actually Muslims are, on the basis of this data, Muslims are lagging behind in every sector of development. Out of 150 in PG, there is one Muslim. Out of 100 undergraduate students, there is one Muslim. At this data that they are 3% in services, and they are more than 1.5% in civil services at that time. That actually proved various shown a very pathetic situation for the Muslims. The banks denied them the loan, and they are very reluctant to join the government jobs. They are not preparing. The confidence has actually disappeared from their lives that they can get the government jobs also. The police and the PSC and other armed constabulary forces, they are not represented properly. So this must be dealt with, and they recommended certain things. Establishment of equal opportunity commission, they recommended diversity index. Diversity index means if any government agency is granting fund to any company, any institution, any university, college, it must see that whether the college has particular number of minorities and other religion. If they are properly representing all the communities in their company, in their university, in their colleges, that should be given more fund, that should be given more benefit, and that should be encouraged. If the institutions are encouraging the communities irrespective of all religion, caste, creed, and gender as well. So this diversity index was proposed, and establishment of service commission for Waqf board especially was proposed, and there are certain other recommendation, important recommendation, though were taken into consideration. Anti-communal violence bill was also proposed, and that was much heated and debated. Actually, thing is that in 2018, I am speaking December 2018 and talking about 2006 such a committee report. Up to 5 years, that atmosphere continued. We were debating, we were discussing, and there was little bit atmosphere of positiveness of the Muslim community's development at that time. For 5 years continuously, it went on. But in this December 2018, the situation is totally changed. We are not seeing changes on the ground. Rather, we are talking and discussing the fear. We are talking and discussing the violence which is being continuously committed, harassment which we are facing continuously in this present government by the hands of the particular sections of the society, the powerful section of the society. The Muslims have forgotten the recommendation of the Such a Committee report. Muslims have forgotten the pace of the development which actually tried to be, which was taken into consideration by the community leaders, government, NGOs, civil society groups. Even our leaders were thinking. Aligarh Muslim University Center was established in Mallapuram Center, Murshidabad Center, and Kishanganj Center. But the situation is totally reversed. The government has itself submitted the affidavits, the document in the Supreme Court by denying the minority status, by saying that Aligarh and Jamia are not minority institutions. So actually, you got after the independence the two rights, especially for you, for the question that preservation of your culture, language, script, and establishment of education institution. And the present government is even insisting on denying those rights and trying to snatch away the minority character of the Aligarh Muslim University, and that will be a general institution if may Allah save it. That is so my idea was to check the implementation of scholarship scheme and certain other schemes of the government which they actually tried to implement after the recommendation of the Sachar committee. There were certain schemes which they tried to do, especially the UPA government, and certain other committees. In 2014, another committee was also established, Professor Amitabh Kundu committee of Jawaharlal Nehru University. He actually checked and inquired the success of the Sachar committee report. The situation is totally just unchanged, same on the ground, and I found that the scholarship also in certain universities also, I took the sample survey from the Madin also, and Aligarh Malappuram campus as well as Jamia Millia Islamia, I found that only 40% students out of 100 were receiving the scholarship who applied. 100 applied, 40 were getting the scholarships. So loan was also not granted to the community at that, and the fund of the centers after the recommendation which were established is also being struck. Fund is not released for Aligarh and Murshidabad center. So this is the situation. We hope for the best good in the near future, and I have recommended certain suggestions also. I wind up here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for this politically charged presentation. And this paper is open for discussion. If you have any questions, suggestions.
You were saying that you conducted a survey in Aligarh Muslim University, Malappuram campus, and you found that only 40 people out of 100 are receiving scholarship. Which scholarship did you mean?
Minority scholarship, merit cum means.
For research scholars or?
No, actually for graduate students.
And this includes both central and state scholarships? Or
Central government is minority scholarship.
Okay. So did you notice any difference? Because you you have conducted this survey in Malappuram campus, no?
Yes.
So did you see any difference in the pattern of?
Yes. In Aligarh and here.
No, the central fellowships and state fellowship.
State fellowship I was not concerned because after Search Committee report, the central government has initiated certain special schemes. So state government scholarship are actually in a different area, and they are continuously being given even before the recommendation of the structure. I found the difference in the percentage of students receiving here and in North India.
In North India. And
yes.
what is the difference?
Little bit difference is there.
Higher.
In Aligarh main campus, the 60% were receiving. I found it. And here the less students were receiving, maybe due to certain reasons.
No, it's actually an interesting data because we assume that people from Kerala will have more.
And in perception survey, with regard to the various aspect of the government has taken this, for the minority community, I found Keralite student little bit positive and hopeful with regard to the government. And I found the fear, the influence of those campaigns like Love Jihad and these other beef issue, they were feeling little bit insecure in North India. Aligarh and Jamia students were feeling little bit, and in the percentage of insecurity among the Keralite students, even the Malappuram Center or other colleges of the minority here, it was less.
Thank you very much. Bahut shukriya. It's very disturbing paper. Disturbing in the sense that it ask so many questions, with morbid fear, highly melancholic, and what will happen to this general election 2019 if these same kind of fascist forces are coming back. I don't know what they will do. But my question is something different. Despite all these incidents, don't take it personally, you are from Uttarakhand, I know, you are not from UP. But not a single parliamentarian from UP is elected through the ballot. 30% of the Muslims, 30% of, at least 30% of the population of UP, Muslims, and not got selected a single from any party. It means they don't know how to identify their enemy. In Kerala, at least we could send around 5 persons through Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Not a single one from UP.
Yes.
Very disturbing. More alarming than such recommendations, I think.
Yes. They have selected the government, they have elected the governments, they have always contributed a lot. There is nothing to say, the contribution. Now they have started dividing their votes among the parties, BSP and Samajwadi parties. So I think they have realized this time, and they are more consolidated, I feel. And okay.
I think he is also raising a larger question, that whether the Muslim issue, as we pursue today, is it an administrative one or a political one? Because Sachar committee
Yes.
report seems to suggest that
Yes.
Muslims are an administrative category. So you need to deal with them through some
Both issues are. It is the issues are
projects and
administratively
programs.
and as well as politically needs to be challenged, needs to be addressed. The politics, actually Muslims are given less tickets. Some certain seats are there where the Muslim population is more than SC STs, and there are good chances Muslims can win the Lok Sabha seats, but they are the constituencies are reserved for the SC and STs. And administratively, I should say that even the Jawaharlal Nehru, after the independence, felt that there is a little bit discrimination, and that should be avoided. So, the Sachar committee report, the interview panel must have at least one member from the minority community. They have suggested it.